Hey, good evening, everyone. It's me, your boy Ryan, aka Clutch Sports Talk, in the house. This is NFL Primetime with me, Clutch Sports Talk. So sit back and relax. I'm going to be breaking out all of today's events and games. So just get ready, pull up a drink, do what you got to do. This is Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Primetime with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. Welcome in, everyone. Happy holidays. Hope you guys are enjoying your weather. Wherever you're at, it's probably cold. Wherever you're at or hot, it's cold where I'm at. It's like in the 40s right here in Las Vegas, Nevada. But we got NFL action heating up. We still got one game or two games left being played right now. Eagles and Saints are locked in, and it's a close one. The Eagles are hanging on to a 3-point lead. The Saints are trying to make it interesting. Jalen Hurts trying to get that first win of the day, or of his first career start. So, but thank you guys for being locked in, man. Appreciate you guys. If you're in the room, make sure you leave a comment. I'll be sure to answer any questions that you guys have, and also hit me up on the following social media sites that are listed below. You'll see it on the ticker there below, man. But other than that, man, I got a great show in store for you guys. I'm going to get you guys ready for the Sunday Night Football matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Buffalo Bills, which is going to be a very, very good game. Or at least it hopes to be a very, very good game. A lot of playoff implications settled on that, especially for the Steelers with the Chiefs winning again today. The Steelers got to kind of keep pace if they want to kind of get that number one seed for the AFC playoff round. So it's going to be a good one. So before I get started today, again, I want to thank everybody and happy holidays to you guys out there. There were a lot of blowouts in the first half of games today. And the first game I want to start with is the Texans and the Bears. I did have the Bears winning earlier. I picked them to win this morning. Not in this fashion. I didn't think Mitchell Trubisky was going to go out and ball the way he did today. He threw for 267 yards and 3 touchdowns. And against, I get it. The Texans are not a very good football team, and I get that. David Montgomery ran the hell out of the ball today. He had 11 touches for, I believe, 113 yards and 1 touchdown. And Allen Robinson, man, low key, is having a very, very good season. He had 9 receptions for 123 yards and 1 touchdown. This was no contest from the jump. Literally, the Texans. Here's the thing with the Texans, man. They have a lot of issues. Not at quarterback. They signed their future quarterback. He's going to be the guy there. But overall, as a franchise, there's no hype. There's nothing going on with them. And I feel that Deshaun Watson's going to probably fall prey to exactly what happened to J.J. Watt. His talent's going to be wasted. He's going to be sitting there. He's going to be a superstar and not have anything to show for. J.J. Watt has been in Houston for his whole career, and maybe he has 1 or 2 playoff games that he's won. Really, he's played with a lot of injuries. Nothing to write home about J.J. Watt now, other than his bank account, because he's been paid very handsomely. But Deshaun Watson is going to be in that same boat unless they figure out their coaching situation and their front office situation, because right now they don't have any talent on that team. They got some guys that are decent, but Will Fuller suspended for the rest of the year with drug enhancements or whatever. Kuti, who's a up and coming young wide receiver, is he a number 1 guy? I don't believe so. So there's a lot of questions going on with Houston, but the one thing for me that stands out to me is that they're just going to be like in a black hole of football. They're not going to be able to win much. That division has Tennessee in there. The Colts are another good team in that division. Texans had a window, but that window has long been closed. Honestly, Houston Texans fans, you guys are going to have to suffer through a lot of losing seasons and watching Deshaun Watson basically have to play 1-on-11. So the Texans lost today, 36-7 on the road to Mitchell Trubisky. The next blowout, which was surprising to me, my Dallas Cowboys travel into Cincinnati and defeat the Bengals 30-7. I said that the Cowboys would have lost today because that's what they normally do in spots like this. But for some reason, their defense came to play. Granted, Cincinnati's Bengals offensive line is a shambles. They do not block anybody. And that's something that Cincinnati's going to have to address in the offseason, especially when they can get Joe Burrow back healthy and back under center for the Cincinnati Bengals. The defense today for the Cowboys, I mean, we're lights out. I mean, they had, 2 or 3 turnovers, one for a fumble recovery and a touchdown return by Aldon Smith. That really was the difference in the game, was the defense. Now, like, the score doesn't say that, but they pretty much held the Bengals in check. There were some glimpses there by Cincinnati, but overall, the Cowboys were the better team. Here's the thing with the Cowboys moving forward. I'm watching, Washington football team play. The Giants lost today, which I'll get to in again. And I'm watching the Eagles game here. And then I think that went final just now. But one thing I will say about the Cowboys is that they are not the best team in the NFC East. If not, they're the worst team. And I'll say it not because of talent. I think heart reasons. I watched the Eagles today. I don't know if they won or lost yet. I got to get the score on that. But I will say this about the Eagles and all these other teams in this division. They all have notable wins this season. And if Philly actually held on to this game, then Philly will actually have a notable win. Yes, and they do. The Philadelphia Eagles beat the Saints 24-21. But back to what I was saying is that all of the teams in this division have at least one notable win this year, regardless of what their record is. I mean, you got the Giants, they beat a playoff team last week on the road in Seattle. Washington beat the Steelers on the road again last week, Monday or Tuesday, I believe it was. And now the Philadelphia Eagles, with a starting rookie quarterback, beat the number one team, arguably, in the NFC. I wouldn't say soundly, because they made it sporting in the end. But overall, what I'm saying is that these teams have grit. The Cowboys have no grit, none whatsoever. And that's very disheartening as a Cowboys fan, because I'm watching this game. The Eagles have injuries everywhere. The Giants the Giants are missing their number one quarterback, the running back. Their quarterback today was coming off an injury. You look at the Washington football team, they have no offense. I mean, they're playing with a third string quarterback in Alex Smith, and they're still able to get it done. And then you look at Philadelphia today, they got it done with a rookie quarterback, and their offensive line is still in shambles. They were able to run the ball on arguably one of the best rushing defenses in all of football with a patched up line. So it leads me to believe it's coaching and it's players. Now, coaching does play a big part, because I look at the Cowboys, they get outcoached more often than not by most NFL teams. The scheme does not work. It does not work. And so it doesn't give me any hope going into next year. Yeah, they won today. They beat the Bengals. But you know what? A lot of teams beat the Bengals. And honestly, the Cowboys have no business trying to win any more games and trying to sneak into the playoffs, because it's not worth it for them. It's just not worth it. And that's just being honest. They have no business being in the playoffs. So I'll leave it at that. So if you're in here, make sure you leave a comment, man. Post a question, man. Please hit me up. Let me know what you guys think, man. I'm going to keep it moving. So anyway, the other game I want to get into is the Chiefs and Dolphins. This game was one of the games picked by a lot of people to watch today. Now, it started off really hot and juicy. Miami went up 10-0 real quickly. Their defense was playing out of pocket. Patrick Mahomes threw like two interceptions early on in that game. And it was like, wow, what's going on with Kansas City? What's going on? They were favored by 7. They ended up winning, they didn't win by 7, but still, I don't know if they like to come from behind, if it's kind of like a challenge, because maybe the NFL is not adequate enough for them, and they decide, you know what, let's make it a little bit more interesting. Let's spot the other team 10 points and let's go from there. And so I'm thinking, well, all right, well, they were down 10-0, but in my mind, I still was like, there's no way they're losing this game to Tua. No way. And I get it. Miami's defense was playing out of their mind. But in the end, I think the Kansas City Chiefs were just still the better football team. Now, eventually they settled in. Patrick Mahomes started bringing his guys back. Tyreek Hill got a quick touchdown. Kelsey, Mecole Hardman got a special teams touchdown. And they were able to score 28 unanswered. There's not a lot of teams in the NFL that can just do that within like 5 minutes of a game. They're one of the only teams that I've seen in NFL history that can do that. Probably not since the St. Louis Rams back in the day when they were during their Super Bowl run. But they strike so quickly and so fast that you don't even understand like how to get it right, how to right the ship, because they're just doing it so well. Patrick Mahomes, he still threw for 393, 34 yards, but 3 interceptions, which is something I don't think he's ever done. Now, they were able to pressure him a little bit, The corners of the Miami did play a lot of man, which I did predict because they had the personnel with Byron Jones and Xavier Howard to do so. But in the end, it just wasn't enough. And they were able to just, go up, get up. And, the Dolphins made it pretty interesting in the end. But overall, they were able to make the plays that they needed to make to win that game. And now they improve to 12-1. Barring if the Steelers lose tonight, then they become the top seed in the AFC, or they might be the top seed right now, if I'm not mistaken, based on, schedules and records and all that. So kudos to Patrick Mahomes. Miami is definitely a good team. Their defense is legit. I think Tua, they need to give Tua some more of the offense. He did make some really good throws. There were some body language problems that I did not like with him. He didn't look like an NFL quarterback today. I just felt like he just, you come off the field dejected, but maybe that's his personality. But to play quarterback in the NFL, to play quarterback anywhere, you have to be the leader. You have to set the tone. And I don't think he did that, but I know he's still learning. He still has some maturing to do. So we'll just have to wait and see what's going on with him. Another game that was a shock for me, the Cardinals go over to the Meadowlands and they defeat the Giants 26-7. Very disappointed in the Giants. I thought they had some good momentum after the win last week against the Seattle Seahawks. Kyler Murray was injured. Well, he is injured. He came in, still threw for 244. Their defense got after Daniel Jones today, and the Giants fall 26-7. With Washington's performance today, Washington does move into the first spot in the NFC East. And, they look like the front runners because they have a tremendous defense that can get after you. So kudos to them. The Giants, the Cardinals, back to the Cardinals, they're, like I said, they're one of those sleeper teams. This is kind of like a good win because the Giants were hot. They improved to 7-6. They stay in the playoff hunt, but I don't think they're quite ready yet to make that next jump, to be one of those teams that should be in the playoffs and actually make a nice little run or even win a game in the wild card round. So we're going to have to wait and see, especially depending on what's going on with Kyler Murray's shoulder. Will it get better? It looks like he got better today, because the Giants defense had been really formidable the last couple weeks. Today they weren't, but the Arizona Cardinals, hats off to them. Their defense played really well and they forced a lot of, things to go against the Giants' way today. All right, next game, Buccaneers and Vikings. This game could have went either way. Dan Bailey missed 3 or 4 field goals that would have accounted for at least 10 points in the Vikings loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 26-14. You do the math, that's 24-26. They could have made this game a lot more closer than what it actually was. Dan Bailey probably going to be looking for another job at the end of the season. That's why the Cowboys moved off him a few years ago. He just isn't the same dude anymore. Tom Brady showed that he can throw the deep ball today. He didn't lead the game with the most yards. Kirk Cousins took home that with 225, one touchdown. Dalvin Cook 22 carries, 102 yards. By all accounts, Minnesota should have won this game, but because of the turnovers and the late game turnovers by Kirk Cousins and Dan Bailey missing a bunch of field goals, Minnesota again gets in their own way. Does this mean that the Buccaneers are suddenly one of the best teams? No, because their schedule in Green Bay, I'll get to them here too. Their schedule kind of lines up pretty fairly for them. They should be able to win at least 2 more games, get to the 10-11 win game mark, and maybe make a case, especially with the Saints losing today. And I'll get to that game here shortly. But Tampa Bay, it's a solid win. It's not going to be like, oh my God, let's go out and crown them now the NFC champs. Other than that, Broncos, Carolina. This one's kind of fun. Drew Lock kind of fooled me today. He played actually really well. He made some really nice throws today. His team got the victory. They were able to hold on and beat Teddy Bridgewater and the Carolina Panthers. Really not a big storyline out of this game. Of course, Christian McCaffrey was out. Carolina, I thought, would have won this game. It was a gritty game. They made it kind of close in the end. They just couldn't get to the job. They couldn't finish the job. They fall short. But Drew Lock, I'm not going to say Drew Lock is the guy now there. He still definitely has a lot of room for growth and potential. But if I'm the Denver Broncos, I probably still would see what else is out there because they do have a lot of talent. KJ Hamler, Cortland Sutton, when he comes back, Phillip Lindsay, Melvin Gordon looked pretty good today as well. But, it's the Denver Broncos and their defense is not actually bad. So we'll see with them. Titans in Jacksonville. This game was a blowout from the jump. Derrick Henry had like 122 yards by like the second quarter. And he finished with 215 and 2 touchdowns on 25 carries. Tannehill threw for 212, 2 touchdowns. A.J. Brown with the one-handed catch. I don't know if you count that on my Instagram. Probably the catch of the day. from an offensive standpoint. Jacksonville really just wasn't on par. They benched Mike Glennon. They put Minshew back in there. It really didn't make a difference. Jacksonville falls to 1-12. They still have not won a game since the first week of the season. So Colts and Raiders. I'm officially off the Raiders ban. They are not going to do anything. They won't make the playoffs more than likely. Their defense is trash. Trash. Their secondary, I know they're young. Maybe they're a year away, but their defense is trash. They fall. Sean Demetrius, he says Drew Lock going to ball out next season, he thinks. Well, we'll see. He definitely has the talent. But back to the Raiders. The Raiders for sure are trash. And I know I have a lot of friends that are Raiders fans, and I'm not trying to hate. I'm just being real. You should have lost 3 games in a row. You got stomped out by Atlanta. If it wasn't for Greg Williams, you'll lose last week to the Jets, and then you got annihilated at home against the Colts. Your team is done. You're 7-6. I don't really see any potential in your defense getting better. Your offense is pretty good. Your offense can compete with a lot of people, but your defense can't stop anybody, and that's point blank. That's a fact. That is a fact. Your defense can't stop anybody. And here's the thing. There's one player on the Raiders that I kind of like. I kind of side eye is Jonathan Abrams. He's well touted. A lot of potential. A lot of people in Raider Nation love him. He's physical. He likes to make big hits. But I feel like he's playing in the wrong era. There was a penalty today that he had that was kind of uncalled for. If he had just made the simple play, he goes out and gets an unnecessary roughness. This guy, to me, reminds me of like a Roy Williams type of player who, played for the Cowboys back in the day. Physical dude, can't cover. And in today's modern NFL, as a safety, you got to be able to cover. I'm not saying he's garbage, but he's going to have to definitely improve his game and not go out for the big hit every single time. Just make the routine tackle, young man. That's all you got to do, but he's out there headhunting a lot, misses a lot of tackles, overplays scenarios and situations, and he's out of position quite a bit if you do watch the tape on the Las Vegas Raiders defense. But I'm done with the Raiders. I tried to give them some props, some kudos. And, Raider fans out there, you guys can hate on me all you want. You think I'm probably hating on you. I'm not. I'm just speaking facts. I'm bringing you the truth. The score today. I mean, look at this. I mean, your defense didn't do anything. They basically gave up double-digit points except for the third quarter. They let Indianapolis come in. Indianapolis is a solid team. This was a chance for them to kind of maybe get back on the path and maybe get people excited, because now those games against Kansas City are long gone now. You beat them the first time. You should have beat them the second time, but why? Your defense screwed it up. Those games are long forgotten now, man. I think they just need to, I don't know what they need to do, but they need to figure out their defense. John Gruden's got the offense going in the right direction, but their defense is just not getting the job done. All right. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this game because this was no game. This was a scrimmage between the Jets and the Seattle Seahawks, 40-3. I said Seattle wasn't going to cover. I think it was like 16.5. Not only did they cover, they doubled it. The Jets are atrocious. Adam Gase, if he's not fired after he hits the tarmac when he gets back home in New York, I don't understand. I get it. There's only like 2 or 3 games left. Just get the dude out of the guy. I bet you they get him out of there. They win a game, maybe 2 games to close out this year, and they don't go 0-16. He is a cancer. He is one of the worst coaches I have ever seen coach on any sport. No one likes him. He has this like weird demeanor. I don't know what he is. He fires Greg Williams last week, and the Jets overall as an organization, man, it's like, dude, what happened? You guys are not that far removed from being in a couple of AFC championship games, making some runs in the playoffs, but now your organization is a complete joke. You do have some kind of talent, some talent on there. Now, a lot of the talent did opt out to play this season. Why? Because COVID, I get it, but a lot of them probably didn't want to play for Adam Gase, period. So that's it. I won't spend any more much time on that. Seattle, it was a good practice game. You'll move on next week. All right, Falcons and Chargers. This game was a game between 2 teams that do not know how to win close games. And obviously, one of them pulled it off, and the Chargers did. Now, I had Atlanta coming in and winning, or at least covering at +1. They lose. Why? Matt Ryan throws a very critical interception at the end of the game. Two interceptions, actually, at the end of the critical game. The first one, it was just a good defensive play. The second one, it was some pressure. He still, made a bad throw, and the corner jumped the out route, and, whatever happens. So the Chargers actually win a close game. They win 20-17. I will say this about Atlanta. They probably need to give Raheem Morris a look. Now, they lose the game today, but honestly, this is a game they probably should have won. There are about 4 or 5 games that they probably should have won that they lost, and their record would not even be that. They could easily be like I don't know what they're 4-9 right now. Say 3 games, they can easily be 7-3. Or whatever the math is, but 8-3, or hell, even 9-2, whatever, right? They should have won a lot more games than what they've actually lost today. I'm not saying it's time to blow up Matt Ryan and that whole thing. Maybe they got one more go in them, but the Chargers definitely had more talent today. Kudos to them for winning the game. And you know, I wouldn't say improving to 4-9, but Justin Herbert is a star. He threw for 44 yards. 44 times for 243. Calvin Ridley went off again. He's a nice, good, young, up-and-coming wide. Not even up-and-coming. I think he's arrived. But other than that, that's it. And actually, the last the evening games, the afternoon games, Packers, squeak out one against the Lions, 31-24. This is always a close game. The Packers and the Lions always play for the most part pretty close when they're in Detroit. The Packers' schedule sets up really nicely. I mean, to be honest with you, they can, with this loss today with the Eagles, with the Saints, they've got the tiebreaker. They've beat the Saints already. Their schedule sets up really nicely for them to actually, if they win out, I'm pulling up their schedule right now. They've got Carolina, Tennessee, and Chicago. So Carolina should be able to beat. Tennessee might be a tough game, and then Chicago. Those are all 3 winnable games for them. They probably will be favorite in probably all of them. If they win out, they're 10-3 now. They win out, 13-3. They can conceivably be the number 1 seed in the NFC and get that first round bye, and maybe that does them some type of good. So because that game tonight with the Saints and the Eagles, that was a huge game, very huge game. So I don't know what the Saints what happened to them today, but I'm gonna get to that game here shortly. Let's see what else we got today. The other game that was wrapping up in the afternoon was obviously the Washington football team and the 49ers. Washington went on the road. They were underdogs. I think they were like +2, +3. End up winning the game. They cover, and I picked them to win. I felt like their defense is better than the Niners. Nick Mullins makes a lot of mistakes, turns the ball over a lot, and he did that today. And I felt like, Washington football team, they're steady. They're steady. They're not going to wow you. They're going to play smart, complementary football, and that's what, Ron Rivera's teams have always done. They're not going to beat themselves. And that's the mark of a good team, up-and-coming team. They don't beat themselves. They let you beat yourself, and that's how they beat you. So Washington, I believe, moves into first place, if I'm not mistaken, at 5-7. And finally, the last game before the Pittsburgh-Buffalo game, the Saints go on the road and fall to Philly. They fall to Philly. Jalen Hurts gets his first start, first win. I'm not going to say that it's because of him they won. They were able to run the ball, and which is so weird because their offensive line is hurt. It's a bunch of guys out there. They threw them out there, and Miles Sanders still rushed for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's why they were able to win. That's why they were able to win today's game. They were able to run the ball. They didn't have to ask Jalen Hurts to go out and do a lot. And, no turnovers. He played it cool and calm. I'm not going to say he's the future of the franchise, but he definitely probably brought a little bit more energy into that locker room. Now, how long can they sustain that? Because there might be some people that actually want to see Carson Wentz back, and they might see some guys that want Jalen Hurts to get some burn. So it's going to be interesting to see with them what they actually do moving forward. But shout out to the Eagles. That's a tough, gritty game against a very worthy opponent. Now, Saints Nation, are you guys panicking now? Because a couple weeks now, you've been like, oh, Taysom Hill's this, Taysom Hill's that. He didn't play bad. He didn't play bad at all, but they didn't run the ball particularly well today. Taysom Hill threw for 291, 2 touchdowns. Michael Thomas had a pretty good game, 8 receptions, 84 yards. Their defense just was not able to stop the run. And like most teams in the NFL, if you're able to run the football, dude, you can beat a lot of people. And that's exactly what Philly did today. Now, Drew Brees should be back next week, I think. Does he get the start, or do they stay with Taysom Hill? That's a very interesting topic, and I'll probably touch on that Wednesday on my next podcast, so you got to stick tuned for that. But it's going to be very interesting to see what they do moving forward with him. But the Saints, is it time to panic? No, it's not time to panic. You ran into a team that was motivated, that was hungry. They had a new quarterback in there. They had some nice energy in the building, and they able to just beat you. That's what happens in the NFL. This is not college football. These are professional athletes, and they get paid to play this game. So shout out to the Eagles for that big win today. So last game of the night, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Orchard Park to play the Buffalo Bills tonight. The Buffalo Bills are favored at -2. The over-under is 48.5. you know, on my live this morning, I had Pittsburgh, can't talk. I had Pittsburgh winning the game. Straight up. I mean, just straight up. This is just water. Don't worry about it. Straight up. So, but hey, if you're in the room, man, drop a comment. Let me know. Share this thing, man. Share this with someone, man. Let them know. Get them in here, man. I want to get as many people as I can in here. But for those of you that are in here, appreciate you guys, man. You guys are legit. Shout out to everyone that's here. So, Pittsburgh Steelers, Buffalo Bills. Very good matchup tonight. Josh Allen is playing really well. A lot of people think he's, in the talks of MVP. I'm not there yet. Pittsburgh Steelers coming off their first loss against the Washington football team this past Monday. There's a lot. Statistically, the Buffalo Bills own them. Or they're better than them on paper. I mean, this is what it is. Pittsburgh Steelers have not really played a really tough schedule, per se. But I will say this about Pittsburgh. Never been to the city. Never been there. But I can just kind of get a feel for it's a hard, gritty town. It's cold, and that's how they play their football. It's grit. You got your quarterback who's been there forever. Mike Tomlin's been there forever. He's a winning pedigree type coach with a Super Bowl, been there 15 plus years. No losing seasons. Almost had them in the playoffs last year with Duck Hodges. It's like, come on, man. You mean to tell me they're not going to be ready to play the Buffalo Bills tonight on Sunday Night Football? You tell me. Now, I get it. Ben Roethlisberger cannot throw the ball as many times as he's been throwing it. That's just not good for their team. It's not a well-balanced offense. But you mean to tell me Mike Tomlin did not all week? I get it from what I understand, too, that they practiced with pads late this week, and I think they traveled today. I don't know how true that was. But you mean to tell me he's not going to have this football team ready to go? They're coming off I would say not a devastating loss because they've been slipping the last couple weeks. And we've seen that in previous history with other teams where they probably should have lost here. They probably should have lost there, and they finally catches up to them. But I think tonight they will be ready to go and play the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, to me, haven't beaten anybody. I mean, who have they beaten? I mean, to be real with you. I mean, who have they? I don't know. So to sit here and say that, are the Steelers exposed? Okay, perhaps. And I should hate the Steelers because I'm a Cowboys fan. But I mean, but let's just be real. I'm looking at, Buffalo's schedule. I mean, the one notable win that they've had was against Seattle, 44-34. Other than that, their schedule really isn't that much harder than Pittsburgh. I mean, they played the Rams earlier in the year. Okay, I'll give you that. That's a good win at home. Kansas City came in there, beat them up pretty good. Tennessee whooped on them a little bit. Arizona, they lost to Arizona. So I'm not going to sit here and say that they're just out of this box crazy good. They're solid. I don't like Sean McDermott overall. He's a good coach, but like I was mentioning to someone this morning on my Instagram live, he's that kind of dude. He's good to get you a certain point, but then after that, I don't know if he can take that next team to the next level. Now, Josh Allen's having a good year. I get all that. But is their defense as good as people think it is? No. They're going to be challenged tonight. They're going to be challenged because Pittsburgh will throw the ball. Hopefully, if they can have some type of resemblance of a running game, maybe they get the win. So, but I definitely like Pittsburgh tonight on the road. Sunday Night Football. It's a big game. Mike Tomlin will have his boys ready to go. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at with that, man. So, but man, today was definitely a good day. I mean, for the most part, it's always good to see football. Got the lights in the background. I got the mood set for you guys. But other than that, man, make sure you guys, pull up, get your pizza, get your hot wings, get your drink. That game is going to start at 5:20, so we still got some time. But before I get out of here, the one thing I want to say from the Thursday night game with Cam Newton and the Patriots versus the Rams, I feel like it's kind of done for Cam as a starting quarterback. He hasn't shown to me that he can throw the ball capable. Now he's going to have to probably accept this very soon that you're not a starting quarterback in the NFL. You can be a good backup for sure. Bring you in on certain packages. But what I saw the other night, dude, it was like, dang, this is a former MVP, I believe 2015, 16, and he just can't do it. It could be the system he's in. I get all that, but I I don't know. I don't know, but I'll leave you guys with that. But other than that, that's my time, man. I hope you guys enjoy. I do this every Sunday at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time. So make sure you tell your friend, tell everybody, tell your daddy, tell your mama, tell your baby mamas, tell everybody that I'm on here on Facebook. I'm trying to get my YouTube back up live here shortly. Some complications going on with that. And some other things that I'm working on as well. So be on the lookout for my podcast, which airs that goes live as well on Facebook at 3:30 every Wednesday. I always have good content, good guests that come on. And then also on Sunday mornings, I do my pregame on Instagram Live, so you can catch me there as well. And other than that, I do this every Sunday at 4:30 to recap and get you guys locked in for the Sunday night matchup. But other than that, man, that's my time. You guys know what it is. It's me, your boy Ryan, aka Clutch Sports Talk. This was NFL Primetime with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. Let's go, guys. Clutch Sports Talk NFL Primetime was presented by All Pro Digital Sports, the future in sports media content. Let's go.